When you're trying to break into Hollywood, here's what readers are generally looking for: an interesting premise and a clear story told in a compelling way. And you'd think that most aspiring screenwriters know this. So why, oh why, are roughly 9 out of 10 submitted scripts getting an immediate pass? There's 4 reasons why. First reason for an immediate pass: cleverness over clarity. And this one kills scripts in 2 ways. First, the writer thinks that their script or their execution of it is clever when it is, in fact, not. Or 2, the writer might have a great idea, but they forget that the first goal of telling any story is clarity for the reader. You are writing a script to be read, and the read is what must be clear. And too many writers get caught up in the trying to get things correct in the script kind of a thing, which is not really the issue, or they get caught up in trying to write a script to shoot. But you aren't writing a script to be shot. It hasn't been sold yet. You're writing a script that's meant to be read, and first, it must be a good read. Yes, having a clever script or executing it in a clever way can help you, but only if you're clear. In any kind of writing, clarity is king, because if the reader cannot track or understand what's going on, you're done. And this also goes for any of you who think that you want to hold out specific mysteries and keep things cryptic in your story. And it's fine to have mystery, it's fine to be a little cryptic, but not so much that you are hiding what you're doing to the point of confusing the reader. Generally, confusing the reader is bad. I mean, there's always exceptions at screenwriting, but the norm is to not confuse the reader. So make sure the story is clear and the reader can track with what is going on. And I'm going to come back to story in a second. A second excuse you don't want to give someone reading your script is you don't want to misunderstand your audience. And you have to remember, who are the first people reading your script? I guarantee you it is not a producer or director or a named actor. Even if you find the actor's production company and they request the script, the actor isn't the first person to read it. They might be the 4th or 5th, maybe. And your first audience is what is commonly known as a reader, someone who works for the production company or agency, and their job is to read scripts and write coverage according to the guidelines that that particular company has established. And more often than not, a reader is someone who is on the younger side, who is an aspiring writer or producer. And there are 3 things that this reader, that they know for sure. 1, they know what their company is looking for and what they aren't looking for. And this one, honestly, might be a little beyond your control in that you've got a specific script and it either fits what they're looking for or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's an automatic pass. It doesn't mean that your script is bad. It's a pass, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can do some research to help you avoid this one, but directives within companies, they change constantly. And if you're trying to hit this moving target, you're going to be more frustrated than anything. So if it doesn't fit what they want, just move on to a different company. You can't really worry about it. The second thing that readers know is they know what they like. And you might think that this one's also beyond your control, but a good screenwriter knows that a screenplay consists of 3 things: a story, the storytelling, the way it's told, and the marketable idea. And when we talk about what a reader likes or doesn't, we're going to start getting at a few things. We start to get at that the storytelling is about manipulating emotions for readers in a way that enhances the experience of the story. And if you're a gifted storyteller, you can make any reader like what you have and enjoy the emotional ride. Second thing, cliches are bad, because that reader's just finished reading 10 other screenplays riddled with the same cliches. And if you're guilty of them, you're done, because they're tired of seeing them. And those stories about assassins and struggling writers and the big city person struggling to make it in a small town, yeah, they've read 9 of those this week. Yours doesn't feel like it's that new. Readers know what they like, so tell your story well and avoid the things that they're reading in every other script. And 3, they know what is marketable and what isn't. If they can't see the movie poster, if they can't envision it, and if they can't figure out the core of your story in a way that they can pitch it to their boss after they read it, and if they love it, if they can't do that in a marketable way, it's a pass. So that first one, okay, unless you know what a company is looking for or isn't looking for, you just don't know. I mean, you just can't do that. Agencies can help with this, but if you don't have an agent, you just kind of have to cast a wider net, and you got to be aware of that. But if you don't know how to manipulate the emotions of a reader, or if you're writing a bunch of cliches or your story is like one of the other 97 that they've read this week, you're done. And the linchpin in all of this is you've got to have a marketable idea. And if you don't know if you have a marketable idea or not, you've got to study and learn what makes an idea marketable and what doesn't. And you have to give the reader an emotional ride when you're telling them a story. Don't worry about impressing a studio executive who will greenlight the movie. There's 15 other people who's going to read the script before them anyway. You're more than likely going to get some notes that you're going to have to address. So do your job, provide an emotional ride for the reader. And if you don't want to give a reader an excuse to pass on your script, then remember who you're writing your script for and make it a script that they can respond to. Mistake number 3, failing to have a story. And this one kills more scripts than any of the others because you might think you know what a story is. You've watched a bunch of them. You've read screenplays. You've read a lot. In fact, you know, right? You know what a story is. Well, not any more than you know how to paint. And you've seen paintings. Chances are you've even seen good ones, even if they were reprinted in a book. But having seen them doesn't mean you can paint. Any more than having seen stories doesn't mean that you know what a story is. And you have to learn. You have to learn. There is no way around this one. And you have 2 options. Okay, you can either write and write and write and write and write, and eventually you'll figure it out through trial and error, or you can intentionally study it and then apply what you've learned. And the second route is, of course, much, much faster, but you have to put forth some effort. You study, you learn, you practice. Not knowing what a story is will cripple you as a screenwriter. If you don't know what a story is, if you want to learn, or if you're wanting to be able to communicate more clearly and articulate the components of a story, get my book, it's linked below. And here's the real reason why you need a story. The reader, who you're writing the script for initially, has to write coverage on your script, which I mentioned that that's something that they do. And they're going to sum up your story. But if your story is confusing and all over the place, and if they can't sum up your script because you actually have no story, well, I'm sorry, it's a pass. If they have to struggle to write the coverage because you don't have a story that makes sense and they're trying to figure out the words on the pages that you submitted in script form, by the time they get to the end of whatever they're writing, they're gonna hate your script, and it's a pass. So don't give them an excuse. Have a solid story. And the last excuse to not give them encompasses a lot of things, but it boils down to this: misusing the tools of story or storytelling. You know, for some of you, this means simple things like grammar and formatting. You know, both of these are storytelling tools. And when they aren't spot on, like grammar, or used in unconventional ways like format, it makes it seem like you don't know what you're doing, or that you just don't respect the craft, or that you're just plain unprofessional. Now, that's not to say that you can't rejigger the format to tell your story in a better way. You can absolutely do that if you are honoring the expected conventions of formatting along the way. Okay, no one is going to kick your script because you format something incorrectly, whatever that is, but they will kick it if you aren't following the standard conventions for the most part. Again, format is a storytelling tool, so use the conventions of format to help you tell the story in an effective way. But there are several other tools, both for story and storytelling, that can help your screenplay out. And you not only want to know what all those tools are, you want to be using them in effective ways. I mean, sure, the tool of plant and payoff may work, but the tool of mystery may have been better in your case. And if you don't know the difference and you don't know how to use them, well, how are you going to do that? And if you don't know the tools that you have available, you have to learn them. You have to become familiar with them. What are the tools in the toolbox? What do they do? What do they not do? Otherwise, you're just giving any reader an easy excuse to pass on your script when you misuse them. Yes, you can watch YouTube videos to learn about some of those tools, but you can also join the Fast Track, where I walk through those tools with examples and practice exercises and even some feedback from me if you want it. It's a work at your own pace course, and if you're serious about becoming a screenwriter and you want to fast track your progress, you should click the link below, choose the tier that's right for you, and get on the fast track. But if you'd rather just watch another video about a tool that you can use, watch this. If you found value, don't forget about the fun buttons. Links for my book and the fast track are below. And when you tell a story that matters. See you later.